But Brad, so this whole Red Wing goalie situation that we thought we had figured out last week, or thought we had figured out even
I don't know if we ever claimed that we had it figured out. So I think it's an ongoing circle of distrust.
I think Jim claimed he had it figured out.
No, I don't
Jim
know
was
if he
pretty
did.
confident.
I don't know if he did.
I just said I wanted the door open, and I thought Mrazek, he had the shutout against Tampa Bay yesterday.
I think Jim's been fair.
Well, Mrazek gets the shutout against Tampa Bay. Nobody shut out Tampa all season.
The number one offense in the NHL.
You're thinking you found your goalie. Howard struggled during the week. He gave up 3 soft goals to San Jose and got pulled. In the game before, he gave up some really soft goals to the Arizona Coyotes. And you're thinking Mrazek stepped up in his opportunity.
But hold on, Jim.
And then they played today.
Oh, boy.
And he struggled today and got pulled in the game today. Jimmy Howard comes in and takes his place. And right when we think there's an answer, we get 3 more questions. And I still think right now it's Peter Mrazek, because I think if all things are equal, if Howard is as bad as he's been, and I think the body language is really bad. When you watch him out there, he doesn't look confident. He doesn't look comfortable. He looks a step slow.
Well, in the post-game interviews as well, when he's in the locker room, he's very dejected and not really all with it.
No, and you would think that that's normal, though. I mean, he's on the verge of losing his job. He got injured. He's going to be potentially the backup if Mrazek plays.
I think you still should have a confidence about yourself, though, and your ability.
Well,
I don't see that right now.
Well, we'd like to think
Jimmy
all the
Howard.
athletes can be that way, but he's clearly not. At least that's not my read when I watch him. You're right, in the games and in the postgame. And Mrazek, while has struggled, is also a player with more confidence and a player where he has yet to reach his ceiling. And right now, I don't even know if it's about the goalies as much as it's about some of these really bad turnovers and the fact that they have not been able to play well in front of their goalies, right? You could argue Jimmy Howard needs to be better, and I would agree with you. You could argue Peter Mrazek needs to make less mistakes, and I would agree with you. But a lot of this depends on who the team plays well for, right?
I think on a night in and night out basis, this team more so than, and look, I don't watch every other NHL game of other teams, but it seems like every single night you're losing a puck at the blue line and giving a fast break to the other team on the ice. You're losing a puck in your own zone. You're turning it over. Easy turnovers of just not holding on to the puck. I mean, that's obviously going to lead to easy opportunities. And is that the goalie's fault? No. We've talked about the defense being a bottom 10 defense probably all season long, and it just makes the goalies look even worse. So when Jimmy Howard's playing poorly and he's going to give up a soft one every game, and then the defense is going to put him out and hang him up to dry every game, it's going to lead to multiple goals. And I think that's what's kind of been snowballing with this team right now.
Brett, I just wanted an answer. I just wanted Mrazek to play well today, and we would have had an answer. 2 straight games.
Jim just wants everything easy in life.
Well, no, we've been talking about this for weeks, and the Red Wings are actually starting to get in a dangerous position where people aren't talking about it yet. They could miss the playoffs. The gap is very small.
It's
within
gotten
6
a lot
points.
smaller. It's too small.
It's within 6 points before the games today, and that's 3 games for one team. You get some more points. All of a sudden, the Red Wings in a position with 8 more games. They're probably still in, but a collapse is still on the horizon potentially if they can't get anything. Because neither goalie's the answer. Mrazek's had the best performance in the last week and a half.
At least they'll make it in as a wild card.
Well, yeah, I don't think they're actually going to miss it, but this could be something where if you can't establish your goalie and your defense can't play in front of the goalie, they're going to be in a position where they could miss the playoffs. And that hasn't been something that's been talked about or considered by anybody, but they have not locked it up yet, and they continue to play poorly.
Let's just put a stamp on this. I mean, Mrazek is our guy no matter what moving forward. I mean, like I said last week, you make the switch down to Mrazek, and now he's your guy moving forward, right? It's a young team. Last week, we said it. They're not going to win a first-round playoff series playing the way they are right now, so let's at least give the experience to Mrazek.
And then you never look back. Well, and Mrazek did it against Tampa, who's likely the first-round opponent if it starts today. He had that shutout.
I'm more likely to look at that performance against the number 1 team in scoring in the NHL, shutting out a team like that for the first time they've been shut out all season long, than looking at a performance on a is this a back-to-back? No, this is
a back-to-back.
Yeah, a back-to-back with Mrazek starting both games. He comes out and obviously struggles today. He gives up 3 goals, I think, right, before he was pulled?
Yep.
And then Howard gave up 2 more. Look, I'm not sitting here saying that we're going to knee-jerk and say that Mrazek isn't the guy anymore, because he's still the guy.
Well, because Jimmy Howard can't do anything well right now, right? I mean, if I have 2 bad goalies, I'm going to go with the guy that's got the ceiling, right? The higher ceiling. Peter Mrazek is 23 years old, still can play his best hockey, still can be the best goalie on this team for a decade, whereas Jimmy Howard, he was playing so well before the injury, but that feels like years ago. In reality, it's been months. He hasn't done anything really consistent since then. I mean, he's had a couple games in a 20-game stretch that have been worthy of you going, that's my goalie. That can't happen. He's 31 years old. He's at the point where you're looking at it and saying, Are we looking at a guy losing his job for good? And Mrazek, you can take your lumps on a couple bad games if you know you're scratching the surface.
So what if Mrazek does the same thing 3 straight days, the same thing that he did today?
Well, because there's still 8 games, we still don't have the answer, right? That's what I'm saying. I said I want the answer. We don't have it.
I think we have the answer. I'm riding and dying with Mrazek the rest of the way. I'm ready to sit Jimmy down.
Who's starting the next game? I have no idea. Has that been released?
No, I don't think it has yet.
Would you be shocked if it was Jimmy Howard?
When do they play next?
It's next week. I don't know the next game off the top of my head. Probably Tuesday.
Tuesday against Ottawa.
Yeah.
So,
Tuesday.
and Ottawa's played
And Ottawa's
well.
a team that's 7-2-1 over the last 10 and climbing in the standings 6 points back.
Yeah, and they're hanging
So
in there.
they need a win there.
Well, a lot of these games you start to see become magnified. Would you be shocked if they said Jimmy Howard's going to be our goalie for the next game?
I wouldn't be shocked. Would I be disappointed? Yes.
Do you get a better chance to win with Mrazek?
I think so. I mean, I think we saw a couple of things that were very indicative of what Mrazek can do for you in between the pipes last night. I watched.
Well, he wasn't great, and it was during the day, and he wasn't great.
Well,
they played well in front
yesterday
of
during
him.
the day, but I mean, there were times where he becomes that 6th defender for you, and I think that's something that Jimmy Howard doesn't give you, where he steps out of the goal and is able to dump things behind the net and keep possessions alive for your team. And when you have as bad of a defense as in front of him, I think the defense plays better with Mrazek in between the pipes anyway. I think there's a confidence about Mrazek that you don't get with Howard. And I think that's something that we've talked about week in and week out now. Mrazek's my guy. I mean, he would have to lose the job the same way Howard did for me moving forward.
But nobody's grabbed the job, unless you really think Tampa was grabbing the job.
I'm acknowledging. I think it's okay to acknowledge that nobody's grabbed the job, but I'm also going to say that Mrazek is my guy. He's going to have to completely fall off the face of the earth for him to lose this job. This is his job for me moving forward.
The main sticking point for me is that for some reason, this team plays better when he's in goal. They just play better in front of him.
Well, yeah.
And that's why I think at this point he's your guy.
Well,
and it's been a slow, because I've been a Howard supporter, and there's been a slow trudge.
You've been holding on to that iPhone 4 when you got an iPhone 6 right in front of you.
And you know what? It's just time to open it up and get the iPhone 6 out of the box and say, this is your guy. This is Peter Mrazek, and he's your goalie, and you're going to ride and die with him for the future.
Counting overtime losses, Jimmy Howard in net this year is actually sub 500. He's 21-22.
Again, I don't put a lot on win-loss.
Jim, I mean, I think you have to when the numbers are this staggering. 21-22, counting overtime losses, 15-8 with Mrazek, and I'm ready to say okay with that.